I wasn't planning on coming back home for the summer, but college drained me, financially, emotionally, physically. So I threw some clothes in a bag, shut the door on my off-campus apartment, and took a bus 4 hours north. My dad's place wasn't huge, but it had a backyard, decent air conditioning, and, more importantly, free rent. There was one major difference this time, though. He wasn't alone anymore. He'd gotten married 6 months ago, to a woman named Tara. I hadn't met her in person until that day I walked through the front door with my duffel bag slung over my shoulder. "Hey, stranger," she'd said, smiling at me like we were long-lost friends. "You must be starving." She looked nothing like what I expected. Tara was younger than most of my professors, maybe late 30s. She had shoulder-length dark hair, skin that always looked sun-warmed, and these clear, pale eyes that seemed to study everything and give away nothing. I don't know what I expected from my dad's new wife, but it wasn't someone like her. Dad came out of his office just then, gave me a side hug and a clap on the back. "Hope you're okay with the guest room," he said. "Tara's been getting the place in order." That first week was mostly quiet. Tara and I didn't talk much, but she was always around, folding laundry, humming softly in the kitchen, watering the plants barefoot. She wore long t-shirts around the house, or sometimes those light, silky robes that tied at the waist. They weren't revealing exactly, but they weren't trying not to be either. I tried not to stare. I really did. One night, I was lying awake, staring at the ceiling fan creaking in lazy circles. My phone was dead. The window was cracked but offered no breeze. And I couldn't stop thinking about the weirdness of being in this house, about Tara, about how she sometimes touched my shoulder when she passed by me, like she didn't even notice she was doing it. Then came the knock. 3 soft taps. I froze. It was nearly midnight. "Yeah," I said, my voice half caught in my throat. The door opened slowly, and there she was, Tara. Her hair was down, slightly messy. She wore that moss-green robe again, tied loose at the waist, one bare leg peeking through the slit as she shifted her weight. "Sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to wake you." "You didn't?" I said quickly, sitting up. "What's up?" She stepped in, not all the way, just inside the doorframe. "I think the Wi-Fi box is acting weird again. I was trying to watch something, and it keeps freezing. I didn't want to bother your dad, he's out cold. Thought maybe you could take a look." I nodded. "Yeah, sure. Gimme a sec." I threw on a hoodie and followed her down the hallway. She walked in silence, barefoot, her robe swishing softly as she moved. Her skin had that warm glow people get just after a bath. In the living room, the lights were dim. A French film was paused on the TV. The modem blinked faintly on the corner table. "See?" she said, crouching beside it. "It just keeps doing that." I bent down next to her, shoulders almost touching. I fiddled with the power button, checked the cable, trying hard not to notice how close her knee was to mine. "Should be good now," I said, powering it back on. "Might have just overheated." She nodded but didn't move. "Thanks," she said softly. "It's just, sometimes it gets quiet around here, you know?" "Yeah," I said, standing back up. "It's weird coming back. Everything feels different." She tilted her head. "You've changed too." I raised an eyebrow. "In a good way?" "In a grown-up way," she said. Her tone was unreadable, half compliment, half something else. "You carry yourself different now." Silence settled between us, the kind that hums with something just under the surface. She rose slowly, her robe falling more loosely across her body. "Thanks for helping." Sorry if I made it awkward. You didn't, I lied. She gave a quiet laugh, then turned to go. I was halfway down the hallway to my room again when I heard it. Another knock. Soft, hesitant. I opened the door. Tara stood there again, looking suddenly unsure. Sorry, one more thing, she said, glancing over her shoulder like she wasn't sure if she should be doing this. Do you mind if I sit here for a second? Just, I don't know. It's hard to sleep sometimes. I hesitated. Everything in me was screaming to say no, but not out of fear. Out of fear that I'd say yes. But I stepped back. She entered the room slowly, sat on the edge of my bed like she was afraid the floor might break under her. I promise I won't stay long, she murmured. I just needed something normal. We sat in silence for a while. She asked about college. I told her about crappy landlords and worse professors. She told me how quiet the house got when Dad traveled for work, which was often. She didn't sound sad exactly, just tired. I think I'm still figuring out what this whole marriage thing is, she said finally, especially with someone older. It's like he's always 3 chapters ahead of me in life. I nodded. Do you ever talk to him about that? She laughed, just once. He likes things simple. Straight lines. No questions. The clock ticked loudly in the background. I noticed how close we were sitting now. Her knee barely brushed mine again, and she didn't move away. Her hands were folded in her lap. One of her feet tapped lightly against the carpet. I should go, she whispered, but she didn't move. She turned to look at me. Her face was unreadable again. Half shadow, half something like guilt or longing. Good night, she said finally, standing. And then she paused at the door, one hand on the frame. You're a good listener, she said. That matters more than you think. She walked out, left the door slightly ajar. I didn't sleep that night. Not really. I didn't see her the next morning. Dad had left early, business trip to Charlotte. Left a note on the fridge and a stale cup of coffee half full on the counter. I sat at the table longer than I should have, just staring into my cereal like it might give me some sort of clarity. Didn't. Tara came downstairs around 11. Hair tied up, oversized sweater, no makeup. She looked normal, like last night never happened. She nodded at me, offered a polite morning, and poured herself tea. Neither of us mentioned the conversation, or the Wi-Fi, or how she'd sat on the edge of my bed in a robe while I tried not to come undone. I thought maybe I had imagined it, that maybe the house was playing tricks on me, the silence echoing into things that weren't really there. But that night, it happened again. 3 soft knocks. Same rhythm. Same hesitation. Same everything. I opened the door slower this time. She stood there in a hoodie that hung off one shoulder, pajama shorts, bare feet on the hardwood. Hey, she said, voice quiet. Can I sit again? I nodded before I even thought to question it. She came in, curled up on the far corner of the bed this time, pulling her knees to her chest. The air between us was thick, but we both pretended it wasn't. It's weird being someone's wife, she said. You ever think about that? Being married? Tied to one person forever? Not really, I said honestly. I'm still trying to remember to do laundry on time. That made her laugh. Really laugh. It loosened something in the air. You make things feel lighter, she said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. That's rare. We talked for over an hour. About everything. About her old apartment in the city, about the record store she used to work at, about how Dad doesn't like sushi but pretends to. about me, about what I wanted to do with my life when I wasn't distracted by things like this. She lay back against the headboard eventually, arms crossed, staring at the ceiling. The silence wasn't awkward this time. It was just heavy. "You know what I miss most?" she asked. I looked at her. What? Being noticed. Not in a flashy way. Just someone seeing when I cut my hair, or when I look tired, or when I laugh at something that isn't funny. I didn't say anything, but I had noticed. The new highlights. The half smile she gave when the dog in the insurance commercial blinked too slowly. The way she always wiped down the counter twice before walking away. She turned her head toward me. "You notice things, don't you?" I nodded. "Yeah," I said. "I do." She sat up slowly, turned to face me, her leg folded under her. Her eyes searched mine, not hungrily, but questioningly. "I shouldn't be here," she whispered. "You are," I said, and then her hand found mine, gently, not possessively, just contact, heat, connection. "I don't want to ruin anything," she said. "You haven't." Silence. "Have you thought about it?" she asked. I hesitated. "Yes." She nodded like she already knew the answer. Her thumb grazed the back of my hand, sending a quiet shiver up my arm. "I've replayed that first night," she said, "a dozen times. I kept wondering why I knocked, what I was hoping for. And," I asked, voice thin. "I don't know," she said. "Comfort, maybe, or someone who'd actually look at me and see me." I leaned forward just a little. Her breath hitched. We didn't kiss, but we were close enough to. Her eyes dropped to my lips for half a second, then back up. "You should tell me to go," she said. "I should," I replied. Neither of us moved. Then finally she stood. She didn't say goodnight this time. She just looked at me, really looked. Her hand lingered on the doorknob. "Thank you," she said, "for not taking what I wasn't ready to give." And then she left. The days that followed were strange. We kept our distance, like we'd both silently agreed to draw a line we knew we'd almost erased. She didn't knock again, but I saw her watching me from the kitchen window while I mowed the lawn. She left coffee outside my room some mornings with little notes that said things like, "You were right about the ending of that movie," or "Hope your essay went well." It was quiet affection, a kind of intimacy that lived in the in-between. Dad came back that Friday. Nothing seemed different to him. He still ranted about airport delays, still kissed her on the cheek distractedly while checking his phone. I realized then he didn't see her the way I did. And maybe that was the problem. The night before I left for campus, I was packing my things when I heard it. 3 soft knocks. I opened the door. Tara stood there in jeans and a sweater, hair loose, no makeup. She looked softer than I'd ever seen her. "I'm not staying," she said. "I just wanted to say goodbye." I nodded. She stepped forward, hugged me tight, tighter than I expected. Her hands gripped the back of my shirt like she wasn't sure if she wanted to let go. And then she pulled back, looked me dead in the eyes. "You'll be someone's whole world someday," she said. "Don't ever let them feel invisible." She kissed my cheek, and this time I was the one who closed the door. That was months ago. We haven't talked since. But sometimes, when it's late and I can't sleep, I still think about the knock, the almost, the silence between sentences, and the woman on the other side of the door who just wanted to be seen.